Mr. Mac, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Record-breaking contract done last night in Major League Baseball, so we figured we'd put in a little overtime, eh?
Kind of a big deal, worth talking about.
History was made last night. Fernando Tatis Jr. with the San Diego Padres signed the longest contract in Major League Baseball history, $340 million over 14 years. The guy is going to be 36 when he's a free agent.
No trade clause, too, by the
Unbelievable.
way.
I saw that no trade clause. Now, obviously, there are still details coming down about this,
hmm
so I don't know if it's a complete no trade
Or
clause
just
or
the
if it's
Blue
a no
Jays.
trade, or if it's or just the Blue Jays, just a trade clause with Toronto on a list, right? But so more information is coming out about that, but that is huge commitment, man, with no trade
Yeah.
clause. So definitely a new way of approaching high-end talent for front
hmm
offices. This is a groundbreaking move, man. And I don't know if I love it. I don't know if I hate it, but let's go over some of the pros and cons of this.
All right.
And if something like this might be a blueprint for the Blue Jays down the road with a guy like Bichette, or if he breaks out this year, Vladdy Jr., right?
All right, let's get
So
into
let's
that.
let's get into pros. Fernando Tatis Jr. I mean, he's only 143 games into his career, but buddy, this guy, pretty safe to say, a generational talent.
Yeah. Well,
Hit
talent, yeah.
machine.
I mean, the talent's there. I can't argue with that.
Hit machine.
Hit
He
machine.
hits for power. He hits for average. Above average defensively. He has incredible speed. Above average base stealing acumen. He's a superstar.
Yes,
And
lots
he
to be
has
excited about, for sure.
a ton to be excited about, right? Uh, I mean, it creates lifelong fans in San Diego. That's one huge advantage,
Yeah.
right? Think about being a dad and, well, this is perfect for you, right? Let's say the Blue Jays did this with Bo Bichette. You can get your daughter a Bo Bichette jersey. She's 9. She's going to
Yeah.
be a Bo Bichette fan till she's 23. You can go to ball games
It's
when
true.
like it's
There is something there.
there is something there about allowing a fan base to
Buy
just
jerseys with confidence.
buy jerseys with confidence. The merchandising opportunity for San Diego is
Yeah.
huge, especially if there is really a complete no trade,
Yeah.
right? Which I would put that in a con if we're going to break it down that way. But let's continue with pros for right
Okay,
now.
sorry. Pros and cons. We're doing this from the team perspective. Okay.
Yes, from the team perspective. Well, we know the pros for Fernando.
Well, I know,
There's
34.
340 million of them. Yeah.
Just saying, there are some cons. I mean, he did potentially leave money on the table by not waiting, 4
Absolutely,
years. Sorry.
which is also no, don't be sorry. You're dead on, man. And I've got it all down here where, you're kind of right, where betting on a 22-year-old, there is risk to this, obviously, but financially, there is gain there for San Diego as well, right? Like you touched on it. If he waited 4 years, he's a free agent at 26, it probably still costs them $340 million over 10 years to get him.
Right.
But what I do love about San Diego doing this is that it eliminates the possibility for the Dodgers to swoop in last minute and offer more money.
And
It
they
eliminates
would.
it eliminates the lure of the Yankee pinstripes,
Right.
right? Because right now, at 22 years old, Fernando Tatis Jr., he loves the Padres.
Right.
Why wouldn't he? He's 143 games into his career. He's still thrilled to be being paid to play baseball.
Right.
San Diego's beautiful. There's nothing against it, but you don't know where he's at in 4 years. 26 years old. Maybe he's like, heck, New York is iconic. Let's go be a Yankee. They're offering me the most money. The Dodgers already proved that they can outbid anybody. I mean, look at what they did with Trevor Bauer. It was a done deal with the Mets, it seemed like. And then all of a sudden they swoop in and give him $40 million this year, 45 next.
All right. You're right. You're right about that. I wasn't thinking about outside sources. I
Yeah.
hadn't crossed my mind that he would leave in free agency, or that would even be something that they would have to compete with. So that's a great point.
Now the cons, we already know the cons. Go ahead. Like you mentioned it, right?
where to start with the risk is through the roof. He hasn't played a full season yet. It's a very small sample size. I don't know what else I need to say. I mean,
No, you're right.
it's 24
it's one of the
million.
riskiest. It's one of the riskiest contracts I've ever seen.
It's 24 million annual average salary. That's a lot.
Yeah. The upside could be massive, though. Like, that's the thing with this contract, is the ceiling for this contract could be crazy, right? Like, if we look down the road and Fernando Tatis Jr. has become Mike Trout when he's 27, like, he's already nipping at his heels. He could be
nipping at his heels. Oh, Mike Trout is.
You're right. You're right. I take that back. I take that back.
Okay.
He is 143 games into his career.
Thank you.
He is 143 games into his career. But on a Blue Jays aspect, if you do look at a guy like, this is the thing with the markets we're talking about, right? San Diego is a mid-tier market. Yeah, they're paying big bucks this time because they're in the middle of their window.
Right.
That they're going to be shedding salary in a few years. San Diego just can't be a $200 million a year team. They're not. And Toronto probably isn't either. I know Mark Shapiro was talking about what a behemoth the Toronto market is, and there is potential to maybe for them to actually get to $200 million where it is viable for Rogers financially, right? Where they're making more money by adding that type of salary. Right. But not every free agent wishes to go to Toronto. Not every free agent wishes to go to a smaller market like San Diego. So you are, by going to Bo Bichette, and this is the thing with Bichette, is I truly believe if he does turn out to be as good as it looks like he's going to be, then maybe you do replicate this deal next year. I don't wish to see it done right now in spring training. Obviously, I'd like a larger sample size, and I think most Jays fans would agree with that.
Yeah.
However, that said, oh boy, watching Bo Bichette for the next 12 to 14 years would be pretty dang cool, especially if he turns out to be the generational talent that we're hoping he is, right?
Yes.
I know you've got a bunch of stats just ready to go here.
Well, I mean, I don't want to bore you with stats. I want to come at this from an emotional standpoint. As far as, do we do something similar with Bo Bichette? I really only have interest in doing this if we're getting a discount for the risk. Like, there's just so much potential for disaster, I guess, where we could really paint ourselves into a corner. I could use all the cliches I want, but it scares the shit out of me, the idea of being locked into a Fernando Tatis size contract in Toronto. I don't know how far that could set us back.
Let me give you a scenario.
Okay.
Bo Bichette this year hits 295.
Okay.
He puts up 25 home runs. He's exceptional in the clubhouse and makes another step forward in the field.
Okay.
Still just slightly above average to average shortstop.
Okay.
Do you say yes to 300 million, 12 years?
He's healthy all season long?
He's healthy all season long. See, it's tough, right? Like, there are so many advantages on both sides of this coin. And disadvantages, obviously. Injury is a huge thing that we didn't even really bring up, right? Because if Tatis is healthy and one of those guys that rarely gets injured, then this deal looks incredible. But if he's as injury prone as Mike Trout, or even worse, it could be bad. But then again, Mike Trout's injury prone and he makes $400 million.
I mean, yeah, talent wise, there's no reason to believe that Tatis will regress. There's no reason to worry that if he's playing 150 plus games a year, he's not going to deserve his contract. That being said, when we're talking about the Blue Jays and our young guys and throwing out big money, big deals, I would be way more interested in signing a 12-year contract with Vlad Jr. this year. And let me tell you why. He has not shown anything in the big leagues other than that one home run derby to really show us that he is the generational talent that we expected him to be for while he was tearing up AA and AAA on his way to the big leagues, right? So I feel like if we signed him to a 12, 13, 14-year deal, we could get him at a bit of a discount and hope that he works out. I still think he's going to work out.
Yeah, I think Vladdy's going to work out too, although that is pretty risky. I like the thinking because maybe you can throw it out there. Hey, Vladdy, why don't you sign with us for $150 million, 10 years?
That's what I'm saying. We could get him for a bargain. Potentially.
But
I mean, maybe not.
we couldn't.
Maybe not.
Like in that scenario, I think if I'm Vladdy Jr., I'm saying, no, I'm not ready to sign that deal yet. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to bet on myself. But who knows, man? You're right. Like, you don't know what these guys are thinking. So maybe something like that is a viable option. I don't see this front office making any deals like this, in all honesty. I can't see the Shapiro Atkins regime ever handing out a 14-year contract to anybody under any circumstance. But who knows? There are a lot of advantages if Tatis works out to what San Diego did. But over 14 years, I mean, my God, man, the United States might not even be a country.
That's true.
Like anything can happen, right? So
I don't know. It's exciting times. I feel happy for him. I mean, all players deserve to be paid, so go get your money. Good for you.
Yeah. Congratulations to San Diego Padre fans.
Absolutely.
Very exciting, very cool, very fun. Do I want to see it happen with Toronto?
It's not.
Ask me again in June.
It's not my money.
It's not my money. That's right. All right, buddy. Well, thanks so much for taking the time here. We did a little overtime. Got a little analysis out there.
There you go. If you liked it, let us know in the comments, I guess. And maybe we'll do it again for the next time there's news.
Absolutely. And, of course, it is spring training, so we do have our walk-off spring training edition coming up in the next month where we are talking to Blue Jays prospects once a week. We talked to Will Robertson. He's one of the top outfield prospects in the Jays system right now. We talked to him yesterday. That's going to be a part of our podcast on Monday and, of course, up on our YouTube, the full interview right now. We're also talking to Adam Kloffenstein and CJ Van Eeks, a couple of their top pitching prospects over the next week or so. Will Agier. So we've got Nick Algier, I should say. We've got lots of great stuff coming up here. Tune in every single Monday to the Walk-Off. Thanks for listening.